My name's Duddits and I do builds and stuff, and today I've got probably the best hunter build I have ever used in the game, and it's the build I get out for GMs when the GMs have just come round, new GM, something like that. I get this build out and you are literally unkillable. You're either invisible so you can't be killed, and if not, we've got devour going. Stay tuned, I'm going to break it all down. The whole build revolves around the Gryfalcons Hauberk. You avoid weapons, gain volatile rounds after you emerge from being invisible. When you are invisible and defeat a combatant while using a finisher, all of your weapons gain a bonus damage. You and your neighbour allies gain a reserve overshield and improves class ability. These reserves overshields can be deployed, but we're not really bothered about that. When you pair this, the first part of this exotic with Stylish Executioner, defeating a weakened, suppressed or volatile target grants invisibility and true sight. So all we have to do is kill something that is volatile, weakened or suppressed, and you've literally got infinite invisibility. There's no cooldown on this. Well, there is, I think it's like a second. So you've literally got no cooldown whatsoever, and all you got to do is just defeat something that's debuffed. Now debuffed is volatile, suppressed or weakened, so any of them things will grant you invisibility. Buried bloodline is just an absolutely cracked weapon to run with this one. It fires double tracking bolts, landed bolts, leeches health from the target. But as you can imagine, it's also got things like violent reanimation with devour. So if you can imagine that paired with the invisibility, getting instant devour is absolutely crazy, because you're either going to be invisible or having devour. And also for the Stylish Executioner and the Gryfalcons Hauberk, while devour is active, this weapon also weakens on hit. So you're also proccing your Stylish Executioner. So the sidearm, Buried Bloodline, the new exotic, is just absolutely unreal with this. It's got so much range, and you'll see there, just one hit and I'm invisible. Crazy, crazy pairing. So if you think about it, you can literally go invisible at any single time you want, whenever you feel like it. And on top of that, you'll notice here, in this clip here, what I'm also doing is I've got an absolute load of orbs down the bottom, which we'll go into in a moment, and void breaches, and you'll notice I've got devour going as well. So you're either going invisible or you've got devour, and 90% of the time you are going to have both going, both devour and invisibility. So Echo of Harvest is one of the fragments. Defeating a weakened target creates an orb of power and a void breach, and as you've seen with the Stylish Executioner, the Gryfalcons and the Buried Bloodline, you've always weakening something. So you've always got this going all of the time, constantly creating orbs and void breaches, which fits perfectly with the next fragment of choice, Echo of Starvation. Picking up a void breach or an orb of power grants you devour, so you're always going to have devour up. Like I said, 90% of the time, if you're not invisible, you've got devour, and sometimes you've got both. So one or the other, or both, you are literally unkillable, and it's so easy to do. Now don't forget the buried sidearm, the Buried Bloodline sidearm also has devour and weakening on hit as well. So you've literally got this going, again, I've said it a few times, infinitely, and I ain't joking yet, it is absolutely stupid. Just going invisible, picking them void breaches up, get your devour going, it's absolutely busted, and I mean that, absolutely busted. Plus all the other ways we can weaken as well with our smoke bombs, grenades, everything like that. So that's the sort of main sort of part of the build, although we have got other weapons to show you as well. Just going invisible whenever you want, absolutely crazy. Plus the other thing I've almost forgot about there was all the volatile explosions you get as well for ad clearance, which is really good from the Gryfalcons, just coming out your invisibility, getting that extra damage from the volatile rounds, which is obviously an added bonus. I know it's a solo season, but void hunters are still absolutely fantastic for end game stuff. And you'll see here in this 1840 lost sector, it's just so easy. You're just literally invisible all of the time. Now I've got some more clips to show you of all the GMs that we did last night as well. Ran this build, did most of them first time, very, very easily. A couple of the aspects, Stylish Executioner, which we've touched on. This is the one we touched on earlier on, just defeating weakened, suppressant or volatile makes you invisible. Vanishing Step is a really good one on a hunter. You can also pair it up with Trapper's Ambush, but I found Vanishing Step for your Gryfalcons is too good not to run. Benefits of the build for GMs, things like that. If you've got teammates, because it is a GM, they are, especially the new ones, quite hard. You can always just proc your invisibility like so. Get a kill, proc your invisibility, get your teammate up. The other thing you can do is really good for like finishing ghosts, things like that, if you need to go capture plates as well. So just getting the invisibility with that buried bloodline from anywhere on the map, because it has got loads of range, it feels really good. With a horde is actually really good. I know it's not void, but when you pair it up with something like the targeted redaction, this is like a good little combo I found. These are just other options to run. Weapons with repulsor brace is obviously really good, because everything in this build is going to be void debuff, destabilizing rounds, so you can get that overshield from the repulsor brace. Collective obligation works really nicely with this build. I'm not going to go through every single weapon, but weapons like the Monarch as well, like Overload, Intrinsic, are really good with this build. Now, the whole build is just absolutely insane for GMs and endgame stuff, because once you've got this timed right with your Trapper's Ambush and your void weapons, your debuffing everything, your weakening stuff, you can literally go invisible whenever you want, like I said, and it's excellent for getting revives, capturing plates. Capturing plates on your own is so good for GMs. There's quite a lot of GMs and activities in the game where you need to capture plates, and just being able to go off and do your own thing, proc your invisibility, devour anytime you want. You are literally making GMs that little bit faster and a little bit easier for your teammates. And once you've got it down, you can literally run a mockery against all these enemies in this boss room here. This is Birthplace of Devile. What a GM this is, by the way. Probably my favourite GM ever. It's absolutely awesome. Love this GM. I wish Bungie would make more things like this. But you'll see here from my suppressor grenade, that is going to proc my trappers, my stylish executioner. And you've literally go invisible again whenever you want. Running a mockery around these. So you can see here how easy these is for you personally. You're just literally invisible all of the time. Got that devour going. So I hope I explained the sort of main core of the build well enough. What I'm going to do now is just go over the rest of my fragments that I like to run to buff this out. Fragments, Echo of Undermining, your void grenades weaken targets. That's obviously really good for Gryfalcons and the stylish executioner. Echo of Harvest, which we've touched on, defeat weakened targets, creates an orb breach and an orb of power. Echo of Starvation again, which we've touched on. And then the very last one is Echo of Persistence, just to make that devour and your invisibility last a little bit longer. I found that a really good one to run. Mods, these are pretty self-explanatory for me personally. Time Dilation, your Decaying Armor Charge has a longer duration. I tend to stick to this one quite a lot just to get that extra few seconds for your weapon surges. Reaper, every time you dodge, you get a kill. Your next weapon kill will spawn an orb of power. On my legs, I like to run 2 or 3 void weapon surges. Obviously, they're costing 3 this season, so 9 energy is quite a lot, but I would like to run 2 or 3 void weapon surges and a harmonic holster. You can even swap out to void reserves if you wanted to as well. Concussive Dampener, I literally run this on most of my builds. I find it too good to run. Then a couple of resistance mods, whatever the activity is at the time, that is down to you. On my arms, I really like to run double bolstering detonation with Gryfalcons builds because grants class ability every time you cause damage with a grenade. That in turn procs your dodge to be invisible, which in turn will then proc your stylish executioner and your Gryfalcons. Firepower, your grenade final blows create an orb of power. Helmet, harmonic siphon. Special ammo finder, special ammo scout, and obviously if you change your weapons up you can switch these out to heavy ammo. But that's the video. I run this build for every single GM last night that we had left to do, and it was an absolute cakewalk. I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.